Harward, a former Deputy Commander of U.S. CENTCOM and retired U.S. Navy SEAL. Sir, always great to have you in focus. Look, I want to start with this new, what the president is calling a humanitarian mission, Project Freedom, and get your top-line thoughts on it.
Well, he's made the guarantee that we will guide ships through the Straits of Hormuz, and that means we're giving them directions, we're helping them through, we're providing some sort of coverage which is separate and distinct from escort, where you'd accompany every ship, provide coverage. Okay. This allows him to maintain his military options to respond and not tying up those assets, but helping those countries who are willing to move their ships through the straits.
Do you believe Iran's leadership, their military leadership, whoever may be left and alive, when they say that they are ready to re-engage at any moment militarily?
Well, I doubt they really have much capability left. Maybe some missiles, some drones, but again, it'd be a very foolish move on their part because we'd respond with overwhelming force almost immediately, not only eradicating the threat that it presented, so engaging and taking that out, but a more broader and significant response. So I think that'd be unwise by Iran, and I think at this point they're just using any rhetoric and psychological warfare they can to keep this as uncertain and play into their equations of milking time for as best they can while they continue to struggle with the economic impacts of the blockade.
Well, and that's what's really confounding here. I mean, it's not very logical. Look, the United States, nobody wants to stay at war. We don't want that situation. However, if it's a few weeks away, and I'm reading less than 22 days, maybe even shorter than that, that their economy really starts to significantly falter in ways that we can see from the outside, for example. And here's more on it from Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent.
We are saying the Iranians do not have control of the strait. We have absolute control of the strait. We have blockaded the ships going into or out of Iranian ports. Their economy is in free fall, and everyone says they have the high tolerance for pain. Well, their soldiers will not have a high tolerance for not getting paid.
Nobody has a high tolerance for not getting paid over there, I would imagine. It involves food as well, from some of the reporting that we can even get with the internet down. The Wall Street Journal editorial board with this: Operation Economic Fury is squeezing Iran's financing, and to avoid shutting in its oil wells, the regime is scrambling for any junk storage it can find. When Iran runs out of oil storage, it will have to stop production, causing permanent damage. Reliant on imports, Iran also faces a gasoline crisis, which is politically combustible. While Trump critics say Iran can hold out forever because it withstood sanctions in the past, the situations aren't comparable at this point. Iran has already lost some 40% of its GDP in 2 months. Wow, Vice Admiral, that's a lot.
Very painful, but here's the problem. That's going to hurt the Iranian people most. And the guys who will take care of themselves are the IRGC and the thugs. So the good news in that only intensifies the pressure internally and forcing the Iranian people with the right enablers to respond and go after the regime. So all of this is a great strategy by the president. And as the secretary said, this is only going to add pressure to them and change their calculus for survival.
You know, Vice Admiral Harward, you always bring the optimism, but you bottom line it for us. So if we are in a position where they can wait out a little bit longer, because they first surprised us with a number of drones and ballistic missiles they had at the beginning of the war, day 27 of a ceasefire, if it looks like it's going to be another 27 or beyond that in terms of days, do you advocate now, as you have in the past, just finishing this militarily?
Without a doubt. Timing's irrelevant to me. We have to finish this. The president invested a lot of capital and time on this. So you want to realize return on your investment. And that means an end state with a government that renounces the Islamic Revolution and all these programs they have, the nuclear program, the missiles, the control of the straits. We've got to ensure at the end of this conflict that no longer exists.
Last quick question. Do we need our friends in NATO? Are they still friends? This is a big conversation going on right now internationally.
Well, they're always going to be friends, but their interests are at stake. And it just astounds me that they don't want to be a part of this because the end state is so substantial for them. And they're going to come to that conclusion at one time or another. And if they don't, we will finish the job and they won't be involved with what comes next. So the stakes are very high for them as well. And I believe at the end of the day, they're going to come to that realization, just like the regime is going to come to the realization that they are going to end their activities. So it's just a matter of when everyone comes to their senses and realizes the irrefutable ending of how this will all play out.
Vice Admiral, former U.S. CENTCOM commander, great to have you always. Thank you.
Thank you.